So we'll continue with Nectar of Instruction. So we have finished text 2. So any points from text 2? What is the essence of text 2?
Don't overdo and don't over-accumulate. And the 6 characteristics are 6 things that we should be careful of because they actually destroy our bhakti.
Okay.
Negative points.
So the 6 things which destroy bhakti are discussed here. Okay. Can you give me a higher point than that? What's going on? What's going on in the sense, what's going on in the section?
So, Nectar of Instruction, it actually takes us from platform of Shraddha to Prema. And these verses.
You have to keep silent, okay?
So, gradually these verses, they are instructing us how to actually go from Shraddha to Prema stage. So, this is the second verse is increasing, talking about our anarthas.
Okay. Yes. So, the first 3 verses are talking of Shraddha. Fourth verse onwards will start Sadhu Sangha, how to associate with devotees. But the first 3 verses are to deal with Shraddha. What are those items that will protect that Shraddha and what are those items that will destroy? So we saw what are the items that will definitely spoil one's Shraddha, therefore devotional service. So that is the context. Okay. So eating or collecting more than necessary. What else? Over endeavoring for mundane things that are difficult to obtain. Atyahara, prayas. And then prajalpa, talking unnecessary about mundane subject matters. Niyamagraha, practicing rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. Or rejecting the rules and regulations and working independently or whimsically. And then associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness and being greedy for mundane achievements. Being greedy for mundane achievements. So we saw that these pursuits will certainly kill your bhakti. Now we will see in the next verse what are the items that are mentioned as those which will enhance our faith and therefore bhakti.
Quite often we get asked the question, how do we know where to draw the line in terms of how do we know that whether we're over-endeavoring or just working for, let's say, future financial security?
Only we will know. Only we will know.
Yeah.
Only we will know. How do we know is a deceptive question. Only we will know whether we are over-endeavoring. We can convince everyone else.
Yeah.
Only we will know if we are over-endeavoring.
So what should we be careful of?
So we can only give the philosophy to them. Are you asking a preaching question or a personal listening question?
Both.
Not, when I say not personal, means not your life.
No,
For personal application or preaching application?
Personal.
Personal application. Personal application, certainly we will know if we are over-endeavoring. So anything that is required, whatever okay, let me put it in a different way. Why are we being cautioned about over-endeavoring?
Because then we go away from it.
Because that gives us lesser time to practice bhakti.
Yeah.
That is why.
Yeah.
So that is a guideline for us. So if we are becoming slack in our spiritual life because we are in a job, okay, or we are by choice or by compulsion, Okay. Sometimes by compulsion we may not be able to do anything, but by choice, if we are in a job where, and we also like the rewards which they are giving us on the job, and therefore we are continuing to do that and ignoring our spiritual life, then that is over. The whole idea of over endeavoring has got a negative connotation only in that sense that it takes away our limited bandwidth which otherwise we can use in spiritual life. Which we can otherwise use in spiritual life. So that is the guideline. So we have to now apply it in our life and see whether we are over endeavoring or not. Over endeavoring in one sense has got to do a lot of small decisions we take in our daily life. What is enough for us and what is frivolous expense. So we know that what is required.
You also mentioned
So we have to understand that we think that the money which we earn is ours. So then we can use it whichever way we want. But if we have the consciousness that money which is coming to us is given by Krishna for Krishna's service, then we will be very cautious about where we put that money, even if it is $1.
You also mentioned in the last class that over endeavor doesn't necessarily result in us being able to keep that money for our future. If it is not in our, you may endeavor, but you may not get to enjoy it. You may just remain endeavor.
So it's a motive behind endeavoring which decides whether it's over endeavoring or not. Alright. So we'll go to text 3. Text 3 talks about those items, principles which assure success of devotional service. Utsaha nishchaya dhairya tat karma pravartana sangatyaga sato vritti sadbhir bhaktir prasiddhyati. So we'll try and complete this verse today. Translation. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. Number 1, being enthusiastic. Number 2, endeavoring with confidence. Not just endeavoring with confidence. 3, being patient. 4th, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna. 5, abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6, following in the footsteps of the previous warriors. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Gaurangi, can you read?
Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu has defined devotional service as follows. Uttama Bhakti or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid from fruitive karma, impersonal jnana and all other selfish desires. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo-yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting materialistic activities. Meditations mean stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Srila Prahlad Maharaj recommends the 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. Hearing the name and glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Read the translation.
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. The 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. Hearing the name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chanting His glories, remembering the Lord, serving the Lord's feet, worshipping the deity, offering obeisances unto the Lord, acting as the Lord's servant, making friends with the Lord, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in the Bhagavad Gita. Tadvidhi pranipatena praniprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti degyanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master, inquiring from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. It is further recommended in the Mundaka Upanishad.
Tat Vijnartam Sagurum Eva Abhigachet.
To understand that transcendental service, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, this method of submissively receiving transcendental, confidential knowledge is not merely based on mental speculation. In regard, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami,
Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavanji Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti.
In the course of traversing the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhaktilata, the creeper of devotional service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature anandamay, pleasure seeking. They actually want to be free.
I think we'll just let the mothers focus on the children. It's very distracting. And the respective mothers take charge. It's better. Or fathers, if the mothers are not in this. Because it's very distracting. I really can't concentrate. I can't concentrate. It's better than take the children out and probably you may then have to watch offline. Better we do that. I didn't want to say it, but I think it's better we do that. I really can't concentrate. So if the children are making noise, please take the children out, and if you can't attend because of that bad luck, watch the video. But there should be absolutely no pin drop silence in the class, otherwise we can't run the course. After that, if we have, if you want to start Bhagavata Mandal, then we cannot do like this. It's an intense study. There has to be seriousness, there has to be focus. We cannot multitask while hearing. I know it's a challenge, but what to do? Yes, sorry, ma'am.
They actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, the living entity are wandering through the material universe. When, by good fortune, one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to humanity at large. It is by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service. The path of liberation immediately opens. One should accept this opportunity to return home, back to Godhead, very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. Even in the material world, one has to be very enthusiastic in his particular field of activity in order to become successful. A student, a businessman, artist, or anyone else who wants success in his line must be enthusiastic. Similarly, one has to be very enthusiastic in devotional service. Enthusiasm means action. But action for whom? The answer is one should always act for Krishna. In all phases of life,
Krishna Artha Akhila Cheshta.
In all phases of life, one has to perform devotional activities under the direction of spiritual master in order to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. It is not only that one has to confine or narrow one's activity. Krishna is all-pervading. Therefore, nothing is independent of Krishna, as Krishna himself states in the Bhagavad Gita.
Maya,
You want me to read this?
Maya tatam, yes, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina mat sthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshu avastitah.
By me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me.
All beings are
All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one has to make everything favorable for Krishna's service. For example, at present, we are using a dictaphone. The materialistic who invented this machine intended it for businessmen or writers of mundane subject matters. He certainly never thought of using the dictaphone in God's service, but we are using this dictaphone to write Krishna conscious literature. Of course, the manufacture of the dictaphone is wholly within the energy of Krishna. All the parts of the instrument, including the electronic functions, are made from different combinations and interactions of 5 basic types of material energy, namely Bhumi, Jal, Agni, Vayu and Aksha. The inventor used his brain to make this complicated machine, and his brain as well as the ingredients were supplied by Krishna. According to the statement of Krishna, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani, everything is depending on my energy. Thus the devotee can understand that since nothing is independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be dovetailed to his service. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called Utsaha or enthusiasm. The devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in service of the Lord.
Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate.
The execution of devotional service is not a matter of idle meditation, but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. These activities...
Alright, so this completes the... what we read just now is the first item, which is enthusiasm. Okay, so what are the points here?
Enthusiasm means have some activities and take a spiritual master, follow his guidance and put that in practice.
Should have the correct motivation and also use utility is the principle basically. So use anything in service of Krishna.
Prabhupada starts off very nicely giving the pure definition of pure Bhakti and and then gradually he goes on explaining how actually we have to cultivate the Bhakti, because as soon as the word cultivation comes, that means there's an activity to cultivate the Bhakti, right? So it's not sitting down idly and doing nothing. But then again, this cultivation should happen under the guidance of someone. That's why he uses in the Brahmanda Bhagavad So in the initial stages, because we were discussing about Shraddha, that cultivation under someone's guidance is very important.
Anything else?
The mind processes, he explains that initially obviously the Shravan or listening is very important, because by listening only our Shraddha will increase.
Okay, good point. Okay, so Prabhupada often said that Krishna consciousness is not an armchair philosophy. What is an armchair philosophy? Anirudh Prabhu was actually talking this morning also in Bhagavatam class, the same point. What's an armchair philosophy? With no practical application. Right. So it's not an armchair philosophy. So we had met some people yesterday in one of the Bhakti Vriksha programs. So one Mataji over there believes that she has seen Bhava Bhakti. Yeah. So she says that already मुझे भाव है, कृष्ण के लिए बहुत भाव है, So therefore, obviously then the next thing is that फिर कुछ करता है क्यों नहीं उसके बाद? What are you doing with all that bhav? What are we doing for the Bhagavad? So it's not just providing lip service or a sentiment that I have a lot of love for Krishna. Our love will be shown. For example, I was mentioning yesterday during the question and answer session in this program that if two lovers have to meet, I don't know, you can go back to your courtship days or whatever. If the girl is calling the boy is calling the girl, they don't discuss कितना देर बैठना पड़ेगा हम लोग दोनों को संबंध बनाने के लिए, to build the relationship, how much time I have to spend with you. If the boy ever asks the girl, how much time, it only happens in Mr. Bean serial. But normally it will never happen that one person, this person will ask, the man will ask the lady or the lady will ask the man, कितना समय बिताना चाहिए आपके साथ. So yesterday someone was asking, is it not enough to chant 2 rounds? Why should we chant 16 rounds? Like that. So this is a movement of love. So it is optional, love is optional. By chanting 2 rounds we are telling the Lord, do I have to spend more time with you than 12 minutes of a day? That's what we are asking. So that is not a sign of enthusiasm. So enthusiasm is directly a reflection of our eagerness to meet that person or our love for that person. So what works for me personally is talking to devotees and hearing both. Like today I saw our Harinam Anand Prabhu. He has come to Melbourne. So immediately I thought that let me go and talk to him because he is a very enthusiastic devotee. Always smiling. उसका चेहरा में कभी 12:30 बजा नहीं रहता. Always he is smiling. Amazing, devotee. Always jumping high up in the air, and chanting. So he is blessed, obviously, because we have seen him since he used to come, with his father to the temple in the early days, and we have seen him, become Harinam Anand Prabhu in front of our eyes. Very, very enthusiastic. When he was talking to me today, and I was asking him so many questions, because he was in Japan. When he was talking to me, I was continuously seeing he's very enthusiastic. This happened, and in the eyes you see the enthusiasm. He's going back, he's saying, how preaching was in South Africa, how it was here. So it was continuously, and I was engaging in the conversation so that internally I was praying that, okay, Lord, give me this enthusiasm. कहाँ से आया इसको enthusiasm? But so sometimes talking to such people will definitely help. Like that. Also, we will get enthusiastic by hearing about other devotees even in our own congregation. Sometimes that also gives us enthusiasm. Just like I heard from one devotee about another devotee's seriousness in chanting. Both these devotees are present in this room right now. Okay. So this devotee told me that how this other person is very serious in chanting. He said, Prabhuji, unka chanting to first class hai, like that. When I heard that, then I got very enthusiastic. Next day, my chanting was very, enthusiastic. Next day, at least for one day it lasted. So then I realized that if I keep doing this, then every day my chanting will become good. But I have to keep doing it somehow. So try and hear as many lectures as possible. Whenever we are doing something, keep hearing. Otherwise our enthusiasm will die slowly. The first sign of enthusiasm dying will reflect in chanting. There are 2 types of people who do satatam kirtayantamam. One who is enthusiastic and one whose enthusiasm is down. Both are doing satatam kirtayantamam. Correct? So we have to understand which category we are in. And if we are in a deceased condition, then we have to lift our game. We cannot be complacent in devotional service. We will have to lift our game. Today only I was hearing Krishna Chandra Prabhu. He was saying that all of us need to lift our game. We cannot stagnate in Krishna consciousness. For which we need to constantly introspect about ourselves. Okay. What we normally do is we give congratulatory messages to ourselves as if we are very good, and then we tell others that they are not good, right? But actually our progress will come when we are our biggest critics. Criticizing others is very easy. We should be our own critics, and that is something which he says we should do very frequently. He is not saying for that every day usi ke bare mein sochte raho. I am so fallen, not like that. But he says periodically we must review where we are, because we know our anarthas better than anyone else. With the congregation we can put a face and come, right? But internally we know. So if we are serious about going back to Godhead in this lifetime, then we have to introspect where we are in our spiritual life. Okay. So obviously hearing from some such advanced devotees, now you started a camera or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So hearing from such advanced devotees certainly gives us enthusiasm. But we have to continuously hear. Otherwise, effect of Kali Yuga means you hear something and then it again fades. So keep talking to, here also, even in our congregation, for me, whenever I talk to, let's say, Gopavandesh Prabhu, I get tremendous enthusiasm. Because Gopavandesh Prabhu is also a very enthusiastic, dynamic, very enterprising devotee. Always in it, never sitting idle, and always he's trying to do something or the other. So, and so many other, not to speak of other brahmacharis, so many of them are there, but I'm just saying that whenever I sit and talk to him, sometimes I deliberately make it a point to sit and chat with him during prasadam or something like that, so that some of the enthusiasm will come. So, but we are responsible for maintaining our enthusiasm. We cannot blame others. Yesterday I met one couple who were going for some Bhakti Vriksha program which is no longer running. Okay. So that couple, they were telling me that even when I saw them, they were very morose, because yesterday actually we did a very Dhamal class in Point Group, so it was very, so we ensured that because it was 9 o'clock working day, so we ensured that everyone was laughing, point was given, but everyone was having fun, lot of fun in yesterday's class. But this couple, they were not new people, they had come for the program, but their face was very sullen, and as if they have come and they are drinking water after many days. So obviously immediately when I asked them, they revealed that Prabhuji, Bhakti Vriksha बंद होने के बाद कोई आश्रय नहीं है, तो वो chanting सब गया, 16 rounds to 0. And I am not surprised, it is not surprising. When devotee association goes, when you don't feel cared for by anyone, then what will happen? Usually the tendency is chodo yaar. Sometimes, therefore, it's our responsibility whether we are doing Bhakti Vriksha program or not. Once we have taken some member into our program, then it is our responsibility to follow them up, always. As long as at least we are in Melbourne. Okay. I may not be able to follow up my Toronto members, still I do that. Not because I call them, but at least they call me for checking me. So then I keep a check on kya ho raha, like that. But obviously from here I cannot serve them in any manner whatsoever. Okay. But at least if we are in Melbourne, then we should not leave them. Locally at least we should keep in touch. Of course, they are being taken care of by other devotees. But here in Melbourne, we should not, if we have started a program and our members are gone, then we should not just leave them like that. Of course, it's a different issue. Some members may leave and they will not accept our authority only. Okay. So then you can't do anything because we cannot impose ourselves on them. Or they may not like that we are asking them, how is your chanting? So that's a different issue. But this couple, they were waiting. When I asked them, it was like they were very happy that I asked them this question. Nahi Prabhu, abhi aapne pucha to abhi hum log karenge. So which means what? That means they are hankering that someone should take care of me. Someone should ask me, mera sadhana kaise chal raha hai? Nobody is asking me any questions like that. So enthusiasm dies down when we don't feel cared for, or when we are not enjoying the process of Krishna consciousness, like that, slowly, and we are not constantly in devotee association, then enthusiasm goes down. Devotee association is different from devotee socialization. Devotee socialization is different. Devotee association is different. Okay. Many times we are very good at socializing, but we are not very good at associating. Associating means having serious conversations. Not all the time just, masti, time pass. That is required, no doubt about it. I am number one in masti in Madak. All of you know that very well. But we should not lose track amidst all that. Internally we have to be very serious and trying to extract from every devotee. Aap kya kar rahe ho, aap kya kar rahe ho, aap kya kar rahe ho, and open our hearts out and speak about our difficulties in spiritual life. If we are not speaking about our difficulties in devotional life with anyone, that means there is a problem somewhere. Because it cannot be possible that we are not having it. Either we are completely oblivious or we are thinking that I am doing wonderful. That is even more dangerous. Otherwise, it is impossible that someone doesn't have a challenge in spiritual life. If someone, right? So this has to be constantly discussed. It doesn't mean that you have to come to a courtyard and tell everyone. So no, at least you can discuss it amongst yourself, and then or with some other devotee.
We were discussing yesterday that whether we actually really develop friendship in ISKCON, or is
Why don't we?
No, whether we have really developed friendship with other devotees, because so far what we hear is all good things. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but not a lot of discussion that happens around what sort of problems we are facing.
Not a lot of discussions happen around what problems we are facing. Yeah, it should happen. That's what I'm saying. It should happen. I discuss my problems. I have people with whom I tell that ये problem है, इधर band बजा हुआ है. I discuss. Definitely, I make it a point to discuss. And when I go every yatra or whenever I go to India, I make it a point to discuss my challenges with devotees who I know will give me. They are very experienced.
At the same time, I've
Speakers.
seen devotees, they try and solve their own problems, and that may not be a best solution.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too personal to discuss.
Pardon?
Sometimes you might feel it's too personal to discuss, even if somebody very close or somebody senior. It's too personal to disclose.
But कोई तो होगा ना जिसके साथ personal पे discuss करना पड़ेगा. It cannot be possible that I don't have a relationship with any devotee with whom I cannot discuss anything personal. That means there is not something wrong with the world. There is something wrong with us then. That means मेरे एक भी आदमी के साथ अगर relationship नहीं हो रहा है, that means can I blame the whole world is bad and I am correct? It is not possible, no? We definitely we will have relationship with somebody who we trust. I understand that we cannot discuss with someone who we do not trust. But it cannot be. It is not possible that इतना बड़ा वैष्णव association में nobody is there such that who is worthy of our trust. That means we are seriously under-evaluating everyone, which is an aparadh in one sense, isn't it? So therefore there must be someone who we trust. Okay. Just now we were discussing an issue on top. I was discussing one issue with some devotee, and he was saying, in this issue, the party which is involved has said that they trust this person, which is good. I said, okay, immediately चलो इन लोगों को साथ में लगाओ फिर वो issue में. Like that. At least one person is trusting, which is like very good, because someone can help them. Otherwise, nobody can help. Like that. So we must develop relationships with devotees, such that then we are able to share our. Otherwise, that's the whole idea of Bhakti Vriksha self-servant leader or counselor system. The whole idea was that only. That right from your induction into Krishna consciousness till your time that we have taken Ram Nam Satya Hai, till that time, then the counselor is always available. Or the Bhakti Vriksha self-servant is also should be available. Not consulting anyone and taking one's own decision is a sign of arrogance. Is a sign of overconfidence in bhakti. A sign of overconfidence. that I know what I am doing. Nobody is qualified to advise me. I don't need to go to anyone because I know that what I am doing is correct. This is a sign of pride or arrogance or ignorance, plain ignorance. That's not a good sign. Okay, so talking about enthusiasm, then the only way of developing enthusiasm is what? Hearing regularly and associating with other devotees who are enthusiastic. If we associate with, Prabhupada also said, no? How do you become a drunkard? What did Prabhupada say? Associate with drunkard, you will become drunkard. So associate with enthusiastic devotees and we will become enthusiastic. Similarly, I remember in my childhood, my mother always used to say, hey, go and sit in the first bench. Otherwise, by default, last bench, lecture chal raha tha, the posture itself is like this. And first bench, how students are. So therefore, mother always used to sit in first bench. She should tell the teacher, my son has eye problem. He can't see the board. All the tricks, she should do from behind. Okay, so why first bench? That is because usually you will find that, of course in college I found different things. No, I am saying that I didn't. What I mean is, later on in life you find that it's not that the toppers always are the front benchers. Sometimes right at the back that guy will be topping the class. Which we realize later on, but at least in school and all it's good. Usually, the front benchers are the ones who are first rank, second rank, So they always used to say, either better. And in fact, my mother used to put a word with the teacher also. ये बच्चा ऐसे क्लास में है, इसके बाजू में इसको सीट मिल सकता है. And what happened in later on when I became very wise, then when she stopped interfering, immediately I moved back. Then I had a friend with whom I used to play hockey, the last bench. I was second last bencher in 10th standard. When the most crucial years came, I went behind. Anyway, so the point is therefore that this in devotional association, devotee relationships also, it's good to be with the front benchers. Good to be with the front benchers always, not to be with the back benchers. All right. Anything else on enthusiasm? Damu Prabhu. Any one of you can do. These activities from there.
These activities must be executed with patience. One should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. Indeed, this Krishna consciousness movement was started single-handedly, and in the beginning there was no response. But because we continue to execute our devotional activities with patience, people gradually began to understand the importance of this movement, and now they are eagerly participating. One should not be impatient in discharging devotional service, but should take instruction from the spiritual master and execute them with patience. Depending on the mercy of Guru and Krishna, the successful execution of Krishna consciousness activities requires both patience and confidence. A newly married girl naturally expects offspring from her husband, but she cannot expect to have them immediately after marriage. Of course, as soon as she is married, she can attempt to get a child, but she must surrender to her husband, confident that her child will develop and be born in due time. Similarly, in devotional service, surrender means that one has to become confident. The devotee thinks, Avasya Rakshis be Krishna.
Avasya Rakshibe Krishna.
Avasya Rakshi be Krishna. Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called confidence. As already explained, one should not be idle, but should be very enthusiastic about executing the regulative principles. Tat karma pravartana. Neglect of the regulative principles will destroy...
Okay, hold on. I think probably we are going to the next section. Yeah. So we'll discuss this much, then we'll go ahead. Okay, what are the points here? So enthusiasm should also be followed by patience. Why enthusiasm and patience are specifically given one after the other?
When we expect results immediately.
Correct. In enthusiasm, you expect results immediately. Therefore, enthusiasm should be there and patience should be also be there. So, what is patience? A symptom of enthusiasm is a symptom of love for the Lord, and patience is a symptom of faith in the Lord. Krishna avashya Karibe Angikar, Rakshibe, Avashya Rakshibe. Like that. So, any points on patience?
We're very low on it. We're very low on it.
We are not there, actually. I am not there to even understand what patience is. So, first we need to be enthusiastic to understand, okay, there is something to...
Good point, yeah. We need to be enthusiastic to be patient. We are non-enthusiastic and not impatient, both.
All the sannyasis, the ISKCON, who are following sannyasa for more than 30-40 years, they are enthusiastic as well as patience.
Patient, yes. So I was reading an article on chanting. I think he was sharing in our lunchtime also the other day. I was reading an article on Dandavats. You read that article, right? So we were discussing in our lunchtime that day that this devotee, don't remember his name, but he attended. This was in the context of retreat of Sachidananda Maharaj on chanting. So he was saying that every devotee must attend these retreats whenever they are available because they can lift our chanting. And he was mentioning that even senior acharyas like Giriraj Swami and all, who are very elevated sannyasis, even they are humble enough to admit, or not admit in one sense, they are in that mood where they are also saying that my chanting improved as a result of being in retreats. So if they are also very carefully trying to enrich their chanting, why we are nowhere. We should also try to take hint from that. That is a long way to go. So enthusiasm means that we are eagerly attending, taking every opportunity that is making itself available to improve our enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness. In fact, these courses also are exactly meant for that. Courses like Bhakti Sastri or Bhakti Vaibhav or Bhaktivedanta, they are meant for increasing our enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. I remember that whenever I attend seriously Keshav Prabhu's classes or something, then I know it really has an impact. Regularly attending, definitely you'll agree, right? Simply sitting in a classroom and studying Prabhupada's books or hearing from the speaker itself is good enough. And Keshav Prabhu also comes up with a lot of good points in the class. So certainly, that activity, such activities have to be continued to sustain our enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. Patience can run out, usually our patience runs out because we are not enthusiastic or we are not following the principles as we are not doing sadhana as prescribed in the scriptures. Like for example, yesterday one boy was asking me, why do we have to, I am chanting, I will chant this mantra also and I will chant Shiva mantra also and I am chanting Mrityunjaya mantra also, he was saying. Okay, some 4 mantras, 5 mantras he chants. So he asked me, I have faith in all these mantras. I said, why do you chant so many mantras? He said, I have faith in all these mantras. Then I asked him, is it possible that you don't have faith in any of these mantras? That is why you are chanting all these mantras. So that if one fails you, the other is there. Then I was giving the example of a foreign exchange dealer. Foreign exchange, in that, what is that department? In a bank, treasury. In the front line treasury desk, where they do this capital arbitrage or this cross currency, cross currency swaps. Yes. So they are always dealing. What is that spot rate? A currency liya, O currency liya. So they are hedging. US dollar goes down, then euros will save me. Euros goes down, this will save me. So I was telling this that that should not be our mentality when doing mantra like that. So choose any one, try it out fully. If it doesn't work, then move on to the other one. Like that. Then of course, then I eventually we explain to them what is the speciality of Hare Krishna mantra. So, but it's a different topic. But we expect results when we don't have faith. So patience is relevant only when we are practicing sincerely. When we are not practicing sincerely, then our patience, then the results will anyway not come. It's like when a soil is not fertile, if you put a seed inside that soil and keep on watering and saying that I am patient, will the tree come? Because the soil is not fertile, right? So without enthusiasm, then there is no point in talking about patience. It's a good point that you mentioned. Only when we have tried our best, then the test of our patience comes. And then the results don't come, then we start coming into patience. So Krishna Chandra Prabhu was telling in today's class, he told one point, that Krishna will, he may also not give us results of our sincere sadhana immediately. He may still test us. Because only through those tests can he make an assessment of how much we trust him and love him. Only through those tests he will make that assessment. Otherwise, without exam, suppose if the moment I tell Nectar of Devotion, closed book exam is in 4 weeks' time, I'm sure everyone will study. Till that time, nobody is going to open the book. Correct? Some of you maybe. Or if I say, first exam is in another 2 weeks' time, everyone will scamper, have some meetings, start by hearting. Otherwise, nobody is going to do. So therefore, the Lord also gives such tests where He wants to take us to the next stage of devotional life through those tests in our life. So, tathenu kampam sushimikshamana punjaneva atma vitam vipaka Bhagavad Vapurvir Vidadhan Namaste Jiveyo Mukti Pade Sadayava. So the Lord, a devotee who persists through the tests which are given by the Lord all the time, regardless of his situation, paying obeisances to the Lord, thinking that I deserve even worse. Such a devotee is Dayabhak, is a rightful candidate for liberation, becomes his rightful claim. So that is a good verse which explains the principle of patience and faith in the Lord. So patience and faith are very closely related. Enthusiasm and love are related. So let's see the next aspect. Who wants? Raji Mataji.
As already explained, one should not be idle, but should be very enthusiastic about executing the regulative principles, tat karma pravartana. Neglect of the regulative principles will destroy devotional service. In this Krishna conscious movement, there are 4 basic regulative principles: forbidding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. A devotee must be very enthusiastic about following these principles. If he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore recommends tat karma pravartana. One must strictly follow the regulative principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. In addition to these 4 prohibitions, yama, there are positive regulative principles, niyama, such as the daily chanting of 16 rounds on japa mala beads. These regulative activities must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. This is called tat karma pravartana, or varied engagement in devotional service.
Okay. So what is the point here? Why nobody is answering? Govardhan Prasadam, is it? Aniyo, give me more. Kaake mast ho gaya abhi sabka. Aram se. Mean the next item is how to go home and okay. So what is the point here?
Swami is mentioning about following the regulative principles, how important it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So following of the regulative principles is very important to progress in Krishna Bhakti. So sometimes devotees exchange sampradayas because of the regulative principles. Somebody will say, कल से मैं श्री संप्रदाय में चला जा रहा हूँ because ये क्या है, एकादशी में फास्ट करो, ऑनियन गार्लिक नहीं खाने का. So therefore Tayar starts attracting us in Sri Rangam. Right? So that is not the mood. This cannot be the reason to jump sampradayas. So these regulative principles are actually principles of freedom. They are not restricting in their nature. They will free us from material world. They are the principles of freedom. They are called as regulative principles, but they are the principles of freedom. So here it is mentioned that these principles of freedom must be, our constant struggle has to be there to follow these regulative principles. It's a struggle to follow regulative principles. It's not easy in Kali Yuga, where we are constantly exposed to this material world and its titillations. So it's not easy to follow, but there should be constant, sincere struggle. Then that struggle begets mercy. By mercy we can overcome. So if we are struggling with some anartha, of course we have to sincerely pray to the Lord that Lord help me overcome this anartha. But one of the easiest things which is in our hands is to chant attentively. Okay, so if we are chanting attentively, okay, then I was talking to Goparandesh Prabhu the other day. What is the best way of controlling the senses? He said attentive chanting. He said attentive chanting बहुत powerful है. It will give results. It will give control over the tongue, belly, genitals, everything. Okay, so he says attentively chant करो हमेशा. So वो तो अपने हाथ में है ना. We may not have control, over many things. For example, if you see, nice rasagulla, then we may not have control over that. But attentive chanting is something which we can at least attempt. If we are not attempting attentive chanting, then we have no right to pray to the Lord to remove our anarthas. If we are not even attempting to chant attentively. Chanting attentively to dur ki baat hai. Usually our problem is we don't even attempt to chant attentively. So this author was saying, bad habits, jo dandavat.com, he was saying that bad, so he says inattentive chanting becomes a habit after some time, such that you cannot chant attentively only. Even if you want to, then your mind will tell you, abhi chalo uth ke udhar jaake baithte hain, udhar jaake Hare Krishna, chalo udhar wo chair pe baithte hain. No. Like that, it will go on. Ek jagah mein baithne nahi dega man. Correct? What happened? Right? This is because it has become a habit, attentive chanting. So he says that one, we must be quick to realize that deceased condition. And in that context, he was bringing the retreat importance. That when I attended a retreat, then how, after that, it's a reminder. Then at least for a few days, chanting is very good. So attentive chanting will help us follow the 4 regulative principles. Otherwise it's very, very difficult. In Kali Yuga it's not easy to follow the 4 regulative principles.
I heard in one lecture that attentive chanting is the remedy for all spiritual problems, all devotional problems.
Correct. It is not only the remedy for all spiritual, all these kind of problems, but it is the only way by which we can attain Krishna Prem. Yesterday someone was saying, ये अटेंटिव चैंटिंग का क्या गोल है? पाप सब धुल जाएंगे? सर पाप तो धुल जाएगा. हाँ, they were asking what is the problem with inattentive chanting? Why can't I just, after all, because I heard that chanting is so powerful that it can destroy millions of lifetimes of karma. So we said that the goal of chanting is not to destroy our karma. The goal of chanting is to attain Krishna Prem. So, inattentive chanting, Nama Aparad itself has got lot of benefits. Nama Aparad will itself guarantee human life. So, Nama Aparad itself will give a lot of other benefits, like sinful reactions will go away, all that. But Krishna Prem will not manifest. That is why it said, Bahu Janmat Kari Yadi Shravana Ketanam Taputana Paye Krishna Prem. It doesn't say Taputana Paye, karma, whatever. Klesha Agni. Taputana Paye Klesha Agni. There is no verse like that. It says Krishna Prem. So the goal of chanting is not just to become sinless. The goal of chanting is to develop love for Krishna. Rati has to develop. Na utpadye dedi ratim Shrama Eveli Kevalam. Of course, doesn't mean that inattentive chanting is Shrama Eveli Kevalam. Chanting of any kind is beneficial only. It's a devotional activity. It's not a material activity. That is more for material activity that is mentioned. But in one sense, if our goal is Krishna Prem and still we are doing inattentive chanting, then that chanting is Shrama Eveli Kevalam because it is not leading to that Rati. Okay. If our goal is Krishna Prem, then we cannot afford not to chant attentively. We cannot afford that in our lives. Still we do that, but at least the books are a constant reminder that we cannot just take it lightly. Okay, let's go on reading further. So continue.
Furthermore, in order to be successful in devotional service, one must give up the association of undesirable people. This includes karmis, jnanis, yogis and other non-devotees. Once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by one of his householder devotees about the general principles of Vaishnavism as well as the general routine activities of a Vaishnava, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately replied, Asat Sangatyag, A Vaishnavachar. Characteristically, a Vaishnava is one who gives up the association of worldly people or non-devotees. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore recommended one has to live in the company of pure devotees and execute the regulative principles laid down by the previous acharyas, the 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. If one lives in the association of devotees, there is little chance of associating with non-devotees. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is opening many centers just to invite people to live in the company of devotees and practice the regulative principles of spiritual life. Devotional service means transcendental activities. On the transcendental platform, there is no contamination by the 3 modes of material nature. This is called Vishuddha Sattva, the platform of pure goodness or goodness free from contamination by the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this Krishna Consciousness movement, we require everyone to rise early in the morning by 4 a.m. and attend Mangalarti or morning worship, then read Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtan and so forth. Thus we hold continuous activities in devotional service 24 hours daily. This is called Sato Vritti or following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. If one strictly follows the advice given in this verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, namely being enthusiastic, being confident, being patient, giving up the association of unwanted persons, following the regulative principles and remaining in the association of devotees, one is sure to advance in devotional service. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that the cultivation of knowledge with philosophical speculation, the collection of mundane opulence by advancement of fruitive activities, and the desire for yoga siddhis, material perfections are all contrary to the principles of devotional service. One has to become thoroughly callous to such non-permanent activities and turn his intention instead to the regulative principles of devotional service. According to the Bhagavad Gita 2.69, what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all living beings is night for the introspective stage. Engagement in devotional service of the Lord is the life and soul of the living entity. It is the desired goal and supreme perfection of human life. One has to become confident about this. One has to be confident that all activities other than devotional service, such as mental speculation, fruitive work, and mystic endeavor, will never yield any enduring benefit. Complete confidence in the path of devotional service will enable one to attain his desired goal, but attempting to follow the other paths will only succeed in making one restless. In the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, one must be calmly convinced that those who have given up devotional service to engage in severe austerities for other purposes are not purified in their minds, despite their advanced austerities. because they have no information of the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
Okay. So what are the points? Nothing.
So Prabhupada is giving further points how to enhance our devotional life or devotional service. In terms of following the Founder-Acharya principles, waking up early in the morning and going to Mandalapi, because that is what is going to enhance or and protect our devotional service.
Prabhupada also mentioning the devotion service is a transcendental activity. So it has to be performed. One has to elevate to the goodness of it. So though one starts practicing the passion ignorance, but this is an activity in the Shiva Sattva platform. One automatically elevates him to the platform. So that's why he gives the morning programs.
How is this related to satsang?
Yeah. So Prabhupada is moving on to the
Last few.
So there are a lot of, as we said, the earlier 6 points were those that will destroy Bhakti, and these 6 points are those that will enhance Bhakti. So one common element in both was what? Association. That common point is coming in both, as if to re-emphasize. It is not only important to associate with devotees, it is also equally unimportant to abstain from non-devotee association. Now one cannot say I will not go to office because of non-devotee log. As I said, association doesn't mean socialization or just being physically together. Okay. So if we go to workplace and we work like a leaf which is on top of this is like a water on top of a leaf, untouched by that place, then we are not associating with them. We are amidst them, but we are not associating with them. The word association is only comes when you are becoming influenced by their thoughts, ideas and actions. Then it is called as association. Now, come back to devotee. Devotee association is only association if we are getting influenced by the thoughts, actions and words of advanced devotees or of the other devotee. Otherwise, it's not devotee association. It is just socialization, that's all. Okay. So in office, we have to restrict it to socialization level and not association. But in devotional life, we have to associate. Even in office, when I say socialization, doesn't mean we go for picnics with them every other day. It doesn't mean that. It just means that we don't take it too seriously. We just do enough so that to get the job done. That's all. For that, whatever song and dance we need to do, then we do. But beyond that, we have nothing to do with them. Okay. Yeah. So, because asat sang can kill our own devotional service. So therefore, and satsang can enhance devotional service. So here again, Prabhupada is cautioning us against the importance of asat sang. Anything else that you are able to see here in these verses?
Is he saying that once you get a satsang or good association or strain from the non-devotees, you will come to a lot of goodness, and therefore practicing them you will come to Sutta. What is the actual meaning, or why he is speaking about that 24 hours devotional service practice?
Yeah. So there is a reason. So Prabhupada is now reminding all of us. See, before we came to Krishna consciousness, were we seeking association? There was no word like that, no? There is no association. Association kahan milega uda? Is there any association in that place? Now, if you see, one common thread is that if Prabhupada wouldn't have established all this, kahan se aata tha ye sab? Kahan se aata tha mandir? You know, what a great job he has done. No? Wherever we go in the world, there is a temple. It's amazing actually, if you see. This association, we will not get in other sampradayas. We will not get this in other sampradayas. We know of devotees, and again, some other sampradayas are glorious, no doubt about that. They are genuine Vaishnava sampradayas, everything, full marks to everything. Okay? But the kind of setup that Prabhupada has given, not many acharyas have done that in Kali Yuga. So when we see people who are practicing other sampradayas, they are not able to sustain, they struggle. And when even when they may put tilak and they may put dhoti and they may put anything, but they don't have any training on what to speak of, devotional life, but even how to live in a grihastha ashram or anything, they have absolutely no training. Right? Now, how are we able to get that training? Because of Prabhupada's infrastructure and setup. So therefore, when one goes out of ISKCON, rarely one succeeds in spiritual life by going out. Rarely. I can't remember even one devotee who has left and said that I am very happy. And he has gone really further up in spiritual life. Just not there. That's all. Of course, we are not being fanatic and saying that ISKCON is the only way back to Godhead. It's not that at all. But whatever Prabhupada has given, we really need to appreciate that. We take for granted because we are inside the house, we take everything. Just like our children take the parents' house for granted. Okay. They don't understand that there is a big mortgage that is being paid somewhere. Because we are just enjoying the facilities, we don't realize that. But Prabhupada has set up this. And because of the setup that Prabhupada has done, we are able to get association which sustains our spiritual life. So we should be very grateful to the institution called as ISKCON. Otherwise we will be nowhere. And then ISKCON is not again one of those institutions where you will come and then that pujari will just take banana and bar ka likha rahega 5 rupees coconut archana, 10 rupees coconut plus banana, 15 rupees agarbatti plus special flowers. We are not that kind of temple, correct? It's not just that you go inside and some ayur arogyam aishwaryam ting 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 ting, and then that crown will be brought and put on your head, like that. And then the pujari will ask, everyone Ashirvadam. It's not one of those temples. Here Ashirvadam means what? Follow 4 regulative principles. Stand 16 rounds. Prabhupada also told. Prabhupada's blessings. Prabhupada pointed to the sannyasi devotees. You really want blessings? The fellow ran away from there. So we have got a different understanding of spiritual life. So Prabhupada has given this regimen. This regimen or this diet or this process or practice is not there anywhere. That day we were discussing with somebody about other sampradaya practices, and it took a while for me to grasp, what are the practices in other sampradayas. There are wonderful practices, but there is no institution universally where these devotees are going and they are able to practice those practices. Whereas we have everywhere Prabhupada established. So what a vision. Prabhupada didn't only talk about association, but Prabhupada gave us, an institution which is there everywhere in the world, wherever we go, at least we are in touch somewhere or the other with somebody. And then ISKCON Desire Tree. What a wonderful, repository it is for association through Vani, like that. So the point is that we have this facility, but we have to take this association. And then that way we will progress in spiritual life. So we should never think of leaving ISKCON. Come what may. Prabhupada said, don't leave ISKCON. Even though it may be imperfect, but we should not leave the institution. In fact, if we have any issues with the institution, then we must also assist the institution to come out of those problems in any way that we can, rather than just being outsiders and then blaming. Because ISKCON is ours. ISKCON is not somebody else's, where we can see from outside and keep blaming. And ISKCON is we all. We all is ISKCON. So how we behave outside, how we deal with outside, that is also ISKCON in one sense. How we give our association to others is also ISKCON.
sometimes that's the problem too, when devotees don't associate, behave properly with other non-devotees, what they tell, like they follow this and that, and they don't even know like how to behave with other people. Basic things they don't know like that.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And sometimes devotees within ISKCON may also, by their own personal actions, they may project a very wrong side of ISKCON to the outside world. That is even more dangerous. Doing something here and projecting a wrong impression, giving a completely wrong impression to the outside world. That's a big disservice they are doing to Srila Prabhupada. So we must be very careful how we deal outside. Okay, so we'll read further. So what's Mata, you want to read? If one strictly, I think where were we? Where did we stop? Oh, sorry, it is further stated. Go ahead. It is further stated in 7th canto. From there. Why don't you borrow a book and read? Huh? Oh, throat problem, huh? So if you can't read, huh? Then don't strain yourself. Okay, sorry,
It is further stated in the 7th canto, although many speculators and creative actors may perform great austerities and penances, they still fall down because they do not have information about the lotus feet of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord, however, never fall down. In Bhagavad Gita 9.0, the Supreme Personality of Godhead assures Arjuna, Kaunteya Pratijanati Name Bhutya Pranashri, O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Again in the Bhagavad Gita 2.40, Krishna says, in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Devotional service is so pure and perfect that once one has begun it, one is...
Where is Rajabha Prabhupada?
Home.
Home?
He's practicing new tunes.
But he just told me he's coming to the class. What happened in between?
I just saw him walking out.
Take it. Okay, continue. I'll deal with him later.
Devotional service is so pure and perfect that once one has begun it, one is possibly dragged to ultimate success. Sometimes a person will give up his ordinary material engagements and out of sentiment take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and thus begin the preliminary execution of devotional service. Even if such an immature devotee falls down, there is no loss on his part. On the other hand, what is the gain of one who executes the prescribed duties according to his varna and ashram but does not take to devotional service? So
hold on. Yesterday one Mataji, this is for all the people who are in preaching. Yesterday one Mataji asked me, an elderly Mataji, she asked me, what is the meaning of Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Charanam Bhaja? What is that dharma he is talking about? Why is Lord Krishna asking us to give up dharma? How will you answer that question? If you are asked as a preacher, how will you answer that question?
All man-made dharmas.
Are you sure all man-made dharmas are being referred to?
It's about varna.
So here Prabhupada is giving the answer. I just saw that. That's the answer which we also gave her, but here is what Prabhupada is saying. What is the gain of one who executes the prescribed duties according to Varna Ashram but does not take to? That is what Lord Krishna is saying. Sarva Dharman Parisajya Mam Ekam Sharanam. Ultimately that is what. Yeah. So Varnashrama Dharma is also meant to become sinless at the end of the day, for gradual purification. But the Lord is saying, don't follow that, surrender unto me and I will take care of whatever Varnashrama Dharma that sinless. Aham swam sarva papebhyo moksha isyami masacha. Don't fear. I will remove all your sinful reaction, he says. So remember this point. If you get that question in your program. Okay, continue.
Although a fallen devotee may take his next birth in a low family, his devotional service will nonetheless resume from where it left off. Devotional service is ahetuki apratihata. It is not the effect of any mundane cause, nor can it be terminated by any mundane cause or permanently curtailed by any material interruption. Therefore, a devotee should be
confident about his engagement and should not be very interested in the activities of the karmis, jnanis and yogis. There are certainly many good qualities among fruitive actors, philosophical speculators and mystic yogis, but all good qualities automatically develop in the character of a devotee. Non-extraneous endeavor is needed as confirmed by Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.12. All the good qualities of the demigod progressively become manifest in one who has developed pure devotional service. Because a devotee is not interested in any material activity, he does not become materially contaminated. He is immediately situated on the platform of transcendental life. However, one who engages in mundane activity, be he a so-called jnani, yogi, karmi, philanthropist, nationalist or whatever, cannot attain the highest stage of Mahatma. He remains a duratma or cripple-minded person. According to the Bhagavad Gita, in 9.13, O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the supreme personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Since all the devotees of the Lord are under the protection of the supreme potency, they should not deviate from the path of devotional service and take to the path of the karmi, jnani or yogi. This is called Utsar Nishya Dhairya Tattat Karma Pravartana, enthusiastically executing the regulative activities of devotional service with patience and confidence. In this way, one can advance in devotional service without hindrance.
Yeah. So what is Prabhupada saying here? That one must have faith in the process of bhakti. One must have faith that bhakti yoga is the highest in the yoga ladder. And Prabhupada is also saying, Prabhupada is hinting here, there are certainly many good qualities amongst the philanthropic, etc. etc. Why is Prabhupada saying that? Yeah. Why is Prabhupada saying that?
At least it will keep them in mode of goodness.
Why is Prabhupada saying? So that we remain in bhakti. Because many times it is possible that a non-devotee is behaving better with us than a devotee is. Therefore, in the neophyte stage, I'm sure it will not, so hopefully, touch wood, it will not happen with anyone here. But in the initial stages of devotional service, people are very vulnerable. Many times we feel those ghayal shares come for the Bhakti Vriksha program. You know that? What's a ghayal share? Doodh ka jala. Many people who have had bad experiences in the past, they'll come. And when they come, they'll be very glum. With a glum expression, they'll be sitting like that, when you are talking. And then you know that they have had some bad experience with ISKCON or something like that. So it is possible that they may have bad experiences with ISKCON. Recently I was talking to some devotees and who are new to ISKCON. So we were discussing the same point. I was telling them that be very careful not to expect perfection in ISKCON. You can expect perfection of devotional service in ISKCON, but don't expect perfection from every devotee who is in ISKCON. Because ISKCON is a hospital. Don't expect healthy pahalwans to be on the next bed, on everywhere. You will have patients, because this is a hospital for patients, spiritually sick patients. So if you are starting to expect perfection here and incidentally you see perfection outside, then doesn't mean that, no, better I follow my office colleagues only. At least, they didn't speak to me as insultingly as you have spoken to me, Prabhuji. Something like that. You know what I mean? Somebody may be, nicely speaking. And sometimes the non-devotees will take advantage also. You know what I mean? For example, if let us say you are chastising a devotee, okay, what is this? You are not even, suppose, again, it's an immaturity on our part. You're not even coming for, not chanting 16 rounds, not even coming for Mangalarti, this, that, something, suppose we rant off, in our initial inexperience of preaching. And the devotee is put off by that. And then another non-devotee is coming, and then he's putting his shoulder on this fellow's. Don't worry, मैं तेरे को पहले ही बोला था ये ISKCON में. मैं हूँ तेरे लिए, टेंशन मत ले. तेरा दोस्त हूँ मैं, I am always your eternal friend. You don't worry. I had warned you already. Don't go to this ISKCON at all. At that time, for the devotee, he is so much understanding of what I underwent. So people are very vulnerable, because actually that fellow, in one sense, he is doing a good quality. He is doing a good job. He doesn't know about the real ISKCON, the teachings, but for him, he is doing an act of friendship and compassion. He is understanding his friend and he is giving him, no, don't worry, I am there with you, don't cry, etc. etc. So we have to be very careful that, in one of the lectures, I was hearing Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says that outside, in ISKCON, we may not serve prasadam nicely. When we serve prasadam, we may spill on somebody's shirt, or we are serving in plastic plates, or what is that nowadays? What is the material? Paper plate, But if you go to 5-star hotel, will they serve like that? How will it be? There will be a concierge desk, first of all, with a tie, and that fellow will come. Yes, sir, welcome, sir. And then he'll say, so where would you like to go here? The Taj Mahal hotel will have, so many, He'll say, would you like to? Yeah, okay, come. And then there will be a manager for that. That fellow will come and escort you. And then, they'll book a table, and then there will be a candle light there, and everything. And then there will be that silver, plated plates will be there, everything. And then what they will serve after that is, very polite, nicely, they will serve alcohol. Right? So here what happens, everything is imperfect, may not be so opulent, but what is served is prasadam. So we have to really have this perspective. Otherwise it will become very, what kya standards है Taj Hotel का, तुम लोग का क्या है इधर मंदिर में प्रसादम, paper plate. I know this is this is something which everyone can relate to. It's too simple an example, but in other areas we have to understand. We have to understand yasyasti bhaktir Bhagavad akinchana sarvair gunaya tatra samasate sura arava bhakta kuto mahad guna manorathena bhavati. Okay, so whatever good qualities a non-devotee exhibits, it's only because of the temporary influence of the mode of goodness. But a devotee, though he may be in the mode of passion or ignorance, eventually will definitely sagunan, will cross all the influence of the three modes. So that faith we must have. So we must not assess a non-devotee who is not interested in Krishna higher than a devotee who might be struggling with his own behavior and consciousness, but still he is a devotee. So devotees are always very special. So that is the point here. So Prabhupada is questioning us here. Yeah?
Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was telling in one of his lectures that the non-devotee, one who is very good behavior and everything, but he will not be able to sustain anymore because that good quality requires Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, that good quality will not remain for long.
Yeah. To sustain the good quality requires Krishna consciousness.
I have a doubt. The Varnashrama Dharma, you said that it's meant to just remove sins, right? But we do also understand from Bhagavatam that Varnashrama Dharma is meant to even bring us forward to devotional service, correct?
Yeah.
So
Varnashrama Dharma is gradually, so it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Ata Pumbye Dvida Shreshta Varnashrama Vibhagashaha Swa Anushtistasya Dharmasya Samasiddhir Haritoshanam. So ultimately the goal of Varnashrama Dharma is what? Haritoshanam. So that is what it will bring us to. It's a slow path. Okay, so we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki.